Hey everybody, so this is a Handsome Phantom review discussion of the movie The Revenant. We just went and saw it tonight. I'm Dustin Furman, alongside me, Brandon Duncan, and our friend Justin. Welcome aboard. So boys, what do you think of the movie? And let me just add, sorry. You had to pause.
I had to...
This review, the first half of this review, totally spoiler free. So if you're interested in the movie, want to know a little bit more about it, just watch this review. We'll tell you about it. We're not going to spoil anything. Then we're going to put a big don't watch anymore. If you don't want to see any spoilers, or maybe if you have seen the movie, cut ahead, and then you can see some of our deeper thoughts about the film. Okay, Brandon, what's up?
I just had to sigh because it, I don't know, felt like a journey. Seriously, it was beautiful, just beautiful. I just keep sighing. That's how I feel like the entire movie was for me. Just a bunch of sighs.
Justin, I'm very curious about your thoughts since we tried to hedge all discussion for this.
We did.
And we knew very little about this movie going into it. I said, hey, it's got this Leo DiCaprio guy, up-and-coming star.
Whoever he is.
And potentially,
Has he won
as
any
headlines
awards?
once said, raped by a bear. Not joking.
But actually a joke.
Actually a joke.
Doesn't
Did not
happen.
happen.
Spoiler
Spoiler alert, he
Thankfully.
did not get raped by a bear.
Thankfully.
Which I will say, we read the synopsis. Him getting mauled by the bear is out there.
It is in the synopsis.
It's in the synopsis. I read it
Spoiler
in
free.
Rotten Tomatoes.
And if you don't know anything about bears, I could maybe understand if you were half paying attention how you could think he got raped.
Oh, yeah, of
But
course.
no actual rape. Sorry.
No. So, Justin, what did you think of the film?
It was long. I got a
It was-
little bored,
It was,
I'm not going to lie.
It was very long. What was it?
It
Two
was
and
a
a
little
half hours.
too long.
Yeah.
2 hours and 36 minutes was the total runtime.
So, you just felt like it was not moving along as fast as it
I
should have been?
mean, well, I kind of expected it to be kind of as I don't want to say draggy, but like there's a large amount of, Leo crawling around, Leo shuffling around, Leo breathing heavily that
Yeah.
maybe we could have trimmed down a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, I sort of felt the same way. I felt like that was kind of part of it, though.
I think that all depends on, not that I'm demeaning anyone's movie watching, but it depends on what kind of movies you're used to watching. And even like what movies you watched recently. So I watched The Hateful Eight and it was 3 hours and 10 minutes. So this movie still felt long, but compared to that, I didn't feel strained because I already was strained earlier. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I do agree that it was long and there was a lot. I think some of those long shots were definitely to show emphasis on the situation in some ways. But
And I can see that. I mean, obviously, if you know anything about the movie, there's a very large amount of struggle occurring.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand that as a film device to kind of, make
Yeah.
the viewer feel that same struggle.
one thing that this movie surprised me with is that I saw a trailer a long time ago that I almost didn't remember at all until I started to watch the movie, and then I remembered some of the things from the trailer. Is that I remember I was worried this movie was almost going to be very surface level survival story, and I feel like I got a lot more. We get a lot of backstory with the man. Well, not a lot, enough of the emotional backstory of the character to really feel what he's driving for. And it has some really nice moments, and I really think some of the different cinematography and things like that really played into that.
Yeah, I don't know. When you're talking about survival movies, I just keep thinking about, and I thought about, because Wolves, I thought about a movie called The Grey. If you guys ever watched that
I've heard of it,
with
but I
Liam
haven't seen
Neeson, that I did not like at all, and I was worried a little bit since it is some sort of snowiness, kind of got me reminding, and there were some outdoors animals that reminded me, and it wasn't like that at all. It was so much different. Now, mind you, The Grey was a horrible movie, but
A lot of people really like that movie.
I did not like it. There
I've
was
not talked to anyone who liked it.
Huh.
awful, excessive amount of swearing. Liam Neeson's good, but
From Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon.
But anyway, yeah, I just thought it seemed more real to me than The Grey. The Grey seemed like I was watching a movie and I wasn't taken away by anything extremely drastic in this movie like I was The Gray. So
Yeah.
as far as survival goes,
I will definitely say this movie, I think, did feel very real. Like you're saying, this movie is a very gory, violent movie at times, and I never really felt like it was, movie happening. It looked like kind of like real life. At least I thought. I don't know. I've never cut open a deer before, like most people in my hometown, so I don't know a lot about what actual animal insides look like. But I feel like that's probably what it did, because I've seen stuff. I've seen stuff on movies where it doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You can tell there's something in your brain where you're like, that doesn't look right, but this does.
yeah. And part of what I love about it is like getting mauled by a bear and stuff, which is in the synopsis. It really shows like. I felt like it was such an accurate representation of how merciless Mother Nature can be, if that makes sense. And it's just crazy. Like,
so let's talk a little bit about our leading men here. Leo DiCaprio. What did you think of the performance? Because a lot of people are saying this is his Oscar right here.
Somebody
they say that every movie.
Every single movie.
No. Something that I love about Leo is that no matter what Leo movie I'm watching, I feel like he's playing the character. Like, I never remember The Great Gatsby. I didn't think about it the entire time when I was watching The Revenant. Like, that's why I know I like him as an actor, and I think he's a good actor, because I don't think of...
I was thinking the whole time watching this movie, I'm like, Leo's great. He's still great. Maybe if he gets the Oscar for this movie, it's because they feel bad at this point, I think. Not that his performance was bad. His performance was amazing. But his previous roles, I think, were much more deserving. Like Wolf of Wall Street. Like, things like his other films.
Yeah. In contrast, I think this is how I'm going to judge it for the most part. In contrast, I wouldn't say his performance was so much better than any. Like, Tom Hardy was really good.
I was going to say that one.
And Domhnall Gleeson was really good too, who apparently is everywhere this year.
What else was he in this year?
He's in Star Wars, for one.
Oh, I was wondering.
He was in
Hux.
Ex Machina as well.
Dude, I can't believe that.
So he's suddenly all over the place. But
I'm an idiot when it comes to actors.
I felt, until like later in the movie, a lot of like Leo's acting, which is still acting, was like mostly, him gurgling up spit and looking really pained. So I mean, once he like actually got to like interact, like talk and like do stuff a little bit, it was really good. But I don't know. I don't love Leo as much as everyone else, which usually gets me a little bit of fire. I mean, I thought he was good, but I don't know. I guess I was thinking about this earlier. Leo's never really made me like feel anything deeply, like, and I don't just. Briefly, like I went to see Joy last week, and there's one part when Jennifer Lawrence tears up, and I wanted to cry. Like that's what I want from an actor, to make me feel something. And Leo's never done that for me, so I don't know.
Interesting. So, other leading guy here, Tom Hardy, who I thought, honestly, and like you said, not like you said, because let me restart here. Tom Hardy has a lot more to say. He has a lot more speaking. That's where I was getting at. So. I feel like we got to see more of a normal performance, because obviously like, Leo's performing with the pain and the grunting and stuff like that. But
everywhere.
Man, I think this movie made me realize as we were walking, I'm like, I really like Tom Hardy. He's just awesome. I
love Tom Hardy.
I felt like the way he talked in this film was so awesome, like so believable. He had this like real twang to it.
Yeah.
It was real nice. Really, really nice.
I think Tom Hardy's great. I first saw him in Inception. I feel like every time, kind of like what you said about Leo, like every time I see him in something, like he's a different character and it's believable, and I'm not really thinking about him being in anything else.
Exactly. Like, this is such a drastic comparison, but like when I see Adam Sandler, he's always Adam Sandler. He's never his characters. He's just his own person.
Yeah. And I felt
like,
about
you know what I mean?
A lot of comedic actors.
Seriously, like they play themselves, and I never think that when I see a Leo movie.
Yeah.
Like they're always playing the character. They're always acting, and it does. I don't even think about the other thing.
Yeah. So To kind of just wrap up this half of our review, I think my thoughts overall is that this was a really good movie. Um, I would recommend if this sounds like something you're interested in to go see the film. It is worth your time. Honestly, this is one of those movies that I probably will not feel interested in watching again for like 3 to 5 years.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
Certain movies, I'm just like, once I've seen them, it's going to be a while. Yeah. Like Hateful Eight, I felt the same way. Like, I'm not going to see Hateful Eight probably till well after it comes out on Blu-ray, probably a year and a half from now or something. So, but overall, still a great film. I think it's probably going to get nominated in the Oscars, if I had to guess. It was nominated for Golden Globes.
It had a pretty good score too. I enjoyed the music.
Yeah. So you, Brandon, what are your thoughts overall then?
I really enjoyed it. I really, really did, and I completely agree with you. Like, it's such a journey, and I feel like I don't all the time want to feel like that when I'm watching a movie. Sometimes I just want to, relax, and it's more of an experience, and I can go for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I think it's one of those movies that really takes you somewhere else.
Yeah.
That is not anything like where you are. Just I was thinking like seeing the setting of like the camp where the fur traders are and stuff. It was like, whoa. I mean, I'm sure they did the research, and this is probably a pretty close representation with it. These like grimy, disgusting dudes, and living in the cold, stuff like that. Justin, any other final thoughts?
I'd say if you saw if you love Leo and you saw the trailer and you thought it looked interesting, you'll probably like the movie a lot.
Yeah.
I was hesitant about going to see it. I probably wouldn't have gone to see it if you hadn't asked me to see it. And honestly, I probably would have been fine never having seen it. So I think if you're hesitant about the trailer, it's probably not for you, maybe. But if you were interested, I think you'll enjoy it at least once. But yeah, like you said, I can't, really see wanting to watch it again.
Yeah.
Anytime soon.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. Well, we are now going to get into more story-specific conversation. So if you haven't seen the movie, stop this video now. Go see the film. Come back right here to your computer, your phone, or whatever. We'll be here, exactly, frozen. And you can listen to our story discussion starting now. So a lot of crazy stuff in this movie.
Just fucking crazy.
I love it.
Oh my God.
I love it in a theater when you can audibly hear gasps that are real. Because I did them too.
So literally, the only time that I really, really noticed a gasp, and it's because nobody was expecting it when he cut off his fingers.
Oh yeah,
that was the first time. That was the first time at the very end when they're fighting. The very last fight sequence. He just reaches around, and you think it's gonna go in his chest or something, and his fingers just lop right. And all the audience was like. Like nobody was expecting that, and that's fucking awesome. I thought it was so cool.
I was saying this in the car right here. I love it when there's good finger chopping because I'm a sadistic freak.
I also love a good finger chopping.
Just satisfying.
Yeah, I don't know. I appreciated that kind of gore as opposed to like a lot of the way like horror movies do gore, just because. Like I don't know. Like if he's gonna crawl inside a dead animal. Yeah, there's gonna be like guts falling out,
like a wampa.
So you know what I mean though. But
but
it's not like someone got their head chopped off and like there's just. It's not like Evil Dead, like I don't know.
Not like unrealistically.
Yeah. I thought, and I feel like in the context, like if it wasn't that brutal, like I don't think. What I was saying in the first half, I feel like it's really important how just ruthless it is.
Yeah. Well, one thing I thought from the very get-go of the movie is when you see, them getting attacked by the natives, and they're getting pelted with arrows, and it seems so much more. When you see a normal movie, usually people are like running, the arrows are flying everywhere but where they are. And this one is like everyone is getting shot with arrows and everyone's freaking dying.
That's exactly how I felt, because when I watched like The Grey and stuff, like there's like wolves and shit and they're trying to kill them with knives. But like this is like they get shot and they die because they are actually aiming at them. And like it just felt so realistic, and I guess that's what's so fantastic about it. And it just goes back to how can't say enough about it, honestly.
I think this movie definitely it is a collection of moments that are really, really great.
And just nail biting. Like there were multiple times in the movie where I was biting on my finger, including like how cool was the bear scene? Like
the bear,
I was just almost holding my breath because it was so just brutal.
Yeah, I was just waiting. I'm like, this bear is like gonna chomp his face.
I was waiting.
She
for
gets
that.
close to it, but when I think that part of that bear scene that like was the most for me was when the bear like swiped his neck, which becomes a big one of his main injuries later in the film. But man, when I was like, oh damn, like,
and then like he's on his back and it's just trying to like dig through his back, and I'm just like, oh, and then. You know, when they flipped him over to try and stitch him up, you could just see how deep that was. I was just thinking about like actual injury with that, and I was just like, dude,
yeah.
Oh, it was so brutal, and that's what made it great for me. That is my favorite part of the movie. Mm-hmm. So,
Justin, any moments for you that you thought stuck out?
I mean, yeah, a lot of them. The point at which I was like, all right, this is a little much was the removing the guts of the horse scene.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, okay. I'm a little bit nauseated right about now, but it was pretty brutal. Yeah, the whole thing, a lot of very realistic violence and action and stuff like that. Especially the arrow scene. The arrow scene was very... very realistic, and I remember thinking that when I was watching it, just how like simplistically realistic it was, which was great. Yeah, I don't know.
Now, okay, I'm a little bit sometimes can be stupid when it comes to movies, and I think specifically I didn't hear what Tom Hardy was trying to say at the beginning. That so he Leo Glass, our main guy, he killed a general.
Yes,
seemingly.
It was
and he was that general was trying to kill his son, which he succeeded in killing his wife.
Yeah,
and he killed the general, got away with it.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was the case, but I couldn't exactly tell.
Because at the end, at the end there, he said to Domhnall Gleeson, like, "I killed a man who was trying to kill my son."
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So he wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a sides thing. It was you're trying to kill my son. Therefore,
yeah.
I'm gonna kill you. So, Justin, something that you're especially good at is picking out the parts of the movies that I don't see or Brandon or people don't see overall. So I was wondering if you had any thoughts in that vein, if you know what I mean.
Put me on the spot here. Jeez. I thought it was interesting, the portrayal of religion throughout. Because it kind of like went back and forth a lot, and I was kind of like, what exactly are we going here? Like, Tom Hardy wanted to utilize God to justify everything he did. He was very predestination, basically. Well, this is God's plan. God put me on this path, so however I act is how God wants me to act. Everything was, this is what God wants. And so I was kind of like, I struggled to figure out what exactly the tone the person who made the film was going for exactly. But the ending when
I was going to ask about that ending.
I don't know. See, on one hand, it's he decides to spare him because he remembers what the native man told him that helped him about it's in the creator's hands. Revenge is in the creator's hands. And on the one hand, he's like, okay, I'm not going to kill you. But on the other hand, what does he do?
He lets him. He sees them down.
He deliberately sends him to someone who's going to kill him. Like, did you really spare him, or did you, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I was thinking the exact same thing.
It's kind of like, yeah, sure, you spared him, but not really. Like, you basically just sent him to a slightly later death. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
So, what do you think about at the very end when he sees his wife?
Do I think he's dying? Is that what you're asking me?
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, he's been dying on and off the entire
film. He's been dying the whole movie.
I expected him to die at the end. I'm not going to lie. And I wouldn't have been as surprised if they had... It was kind of weird how they didn't instantly kill him when they saw him. Because he was kind of far away. And even though we see that woman is there, the one that he helped escape, I just kind of felt like every other point in this movie, anytime these particular... group of natives had seen instant kill. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they're like, there's no way she could have told that was him from as far away as they were,
Well,
and it just seems strange that they didn't just instantly take him down.
I'm trying to think the logic behind. She's the one who tells him, God's the one who's going to have your revenge, right?
The guy who helped him.
Yeah.
The bison guy.
The guy with the wolves. Yeah.
Because he said they killed my family too, but revenge is in the creator's hands.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm not going to hunt down whoever killed my family.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you actually make a good point with the whole killing on site, because even when he's in the water, like there's one person, and it's not like they ever ask like, hey, there's one obviously helpless person here when we have like 30 guys. It's just they just instantly start firing arrows at him instantly. Like he's crawling away and they're firing arrows at one guy.
And in that part when they find him in the woods and he's sleeping there, like they don't even know if he's a living person and they're already shooting arrows at him. Like they just automatically start shooting.
Yeah.
It just, I don't know. It just didn't kind of like fit with the rest of what had happened in the film.
I mean, I understand why it happened, but obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to get into a discussion of this, but I looked up the true story and
let's hit on that lightly.
Okay. I'll just say a large amount of the events of the film are fictionalized.
And then I assume
a lot of the story parts.
How about
are
the bear?
fictionalized. The bear, all that happened. He was mauled by the bear.
Savage.
Allegedly, what Tom Hardy's character and the Bridger, the young one, I can't think of the actor's name right now, but they helped him kill the bear as opposed to him killing himself, and like all that beginning part's the same, and then they left him for dead basically. But the whole thing with his son, none of that's real.
Yeah.
And the wife, and like later, like how like there's no big like epic battle. He ends up tracking him down like much later, and he spares him simply because killing him would mean that he would go to prison.
So
or, probably be hanged.
So the Fitzgerald guy is kind of all vilified for no reason.
Well, I mean, he does leave him for dead. So
yeah,
he was still seems like he was pretty awful guy.
Yeah.
That whole last sequence, killing Domhnall Gleeson's character and all that stuff. Just none of that.
The revenge story is kind of its own.
Something I think it's interesting.
Story thread that doesn't exist.
Yeah. When we were talking about actors and stuff, something I wanted to mention on is Tom Hardy made me want to hate him so bad. And that's why I know that I really liked him in this movie, because I was like, fuck you, guy. Right. I hate you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
So that's how I know I'm like, Tom Hardy, you done good. I fucking hate you.
You done good.
Yeah, for sure.
Like he's Bane. I want him to be like, it's your reckoning.
I wanted them to wrestle.
I killed your son.
What? Oh, I just wanted, since we're doing spoilers now.
Yeah.
You said about realism, right?
Yeah.
How for the most part it's pretty realistic. The thing that bothered me the most, and they actually talked. This is one of the things that it didn't happen in real life, but didn't happen in the story, is the entire time I was thinking, your back is going to get infected and you're going to die from an infection. And the native guy even says that to him, like, your body's rotting.
Yeah.
Originally, the real guy, Glass, I can't remember his first name, he knew he was going to get infected, so he rubbed his back up against a rotting log to get maggots in the wound so they would eat away the dead flesh.
Holy hell.
Which they never do anything in the movie.
That would have been awesome.
To stem the infection. And I'm like, you should be dying. You should have died a long time ago.
Does that actually work?
Oh, yeah. That's how they used to get rid of infected flesh. Maggots. They eat away the dead flesh.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very old medicinal...
I have heard that now that I'm thinking about it.
That was like one of the biggest things that I just kept...
People would have been vomiting
he should have been
dead.
Well, they would have been, but I'm just like...
It could have been...
They should have been doing something. Like, he cauterized the neck wound. Like, he could have cauterized the back wounds, or that guy could have. I was just like, you need to do something, because there's no way your back is not infected. You're running around in the wild, filthy water, filthy everything. Like, there's mess, you should be hugely infected right now, and probably fever dreams, dying, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. That was one of the things that kind of threw me off. And that's kind of also the reason why I think he's dead at the end, or about to die, because he received next to no medical treatment, and even at the end,
got some
that guy was like, "Oh, he's gonna live." He's like, "He's gonna live," but he didn't seem to do anything to him. So
petroleum jelly.
He got some petroleum jelly, took a shower, and left.
Yeah.
He's fine. That's all you need. He did the shit shower shave.
He did the shit shower shave, and he left.
Well, no shaving, I guess.
No shaving.
Petroleum jelly maybe in there.
One other thing.
Yes.
I'm
Yes, sir.
talking a lot. I'm talking a lot.
No, that's
I'm
fine.
just curious what you think of this.
Yes, sir.
From a film standpoint.
Okay.
So the scene where he crawls out of his grave and he finds his dead son.
Yes.
And he lays his head on him, and his camera comes in real close, and his breath fogs the camera.
Oh,
bothered me a lot.
I hate that. I really do hate that. I'm glad you mentioned
It's like the water on the lens thing, but
Because-
it was worse because it was like, a camera is supposed to be, the eye, and I'm supposed to feel like I'm watching this myself. And as soon as his breath, I'm like, that's a camera. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I know it's a camera, but I was instantly pulled out of the moment because of that. I was like, there's a zoom on your camera. Maybe you should use that.
Exactly. Yeah. The breath on the camera thing, I totally agree. I felt like at that moment I was reminded that there's a man standing there with
Exactly,
the camera
right?
that I'm looking through and not, like you said, you were the
Pulled
eye.
out of the moment.
And what's funny is that film overall I think had a very nice flowing feel, kind of like Birdman, where you're flowing from one thing to the next and you don't feel like you're a camera, that you're just this floating around the scene because there's less cuts than a normal movie.
That opening scene especially was very flowing.
And so when you get that moment where it really snaps you out and you're like, ooh, why?
It was jarring.
Yeah. So I totally agree about that. Anyway, do we have any final thoughts before we wrap this video up?
I don't think so.
Hopefully we'll do some more movie reviews. This has been fun.
That'd be wonderful.
It's kind of a bad time of year now that it's January, February.
Maybe actually going to snow finally.
Well, I'm just saying for new
movies.
films.
Yeah, true.
So maybe we're
what's
gonna have to
going on.
do some vintage reviews or something like that.
That'd be
Yeah.
That'd be good.
That'd be great. All right. So thank you for checking out this video, this YouTube channel, Handsome Phantom, brand new. We're so glad to have you checking out this channel. Make sure you like and subscribe and tell us what you thought of The Revenant below, down in the comments. We'd love to hear about it. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye.